there's news. John Lynch spoke yesterday. He was at the Stanford Pro Day, and there's some writers there. They were like, "Hey, John," they just did this. They were like, and he was like, "No, I know what you're saying. We got a plan." You know what I'm saying? And there's a thing called a draft, and we have a lot of draft picks. And that's all he would say. Apparently, the 49ers plan is to replace 9 starters with rookies and second-year players. Is that the plan? Do you think that's what do you discern here?
It reminds me of that Dark Knight when Joker's like, it's all part of the plan. The mob has plan. Gordon's got plans. They're schemers. controlling their little world.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 49ers are trying to be schemers, all part of the plan. Just like Joker, and they're just looking at the draft like, hey, we're going to draft them all, we're going to start them all. I mean, it's a bold plan, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for them. I mean, I guess they're just simply copying the recipe that the Rams did. I guess even to a degree that the Bills did last year. Yeah, this actually past season. I think once his comments said that, it pretty much confirms like, okay, yeah, all those reports of like, because the way they were moving and those reports, it's like, are we at a reset? Are they pretty much kind of like calling it like a mailed-in season? But he essentially confirmed that a mailed-in season. The fact that like, okay, you let go 2 solid star. It's Malik Collins one's the one I was a little more like, what? Like Floyd, I get it. He gives you nothing in the run game, and he's only like a spot pass rush specialist. So I didn't mind that one. But I think pretty much overall, all those comments pretty much said like, hey guys, yeah, don't expect nothing from us. Whatever the core we have now, and we're just gonna plug and play. You're gonna have to get used to some new names, or we're gonna have to try to coach them up. I just think like that's cool, great, good. Probably a year too late, but like, are you guys gonna successfully like even find multiple adequate starters and have a bunch of young rookies on the defensive line alone?
I think it's pretty clear that the 49ers don't like view the vast majority of their team as replaceable and unnecessary. Like it could be Devondre Campbell, it could be D Winters. I don't think the Niners look at last year's down season as like a result of them having the wrong players who are non-stars. I think they look at it and they're like, well, Christian McCaffrey was hurt. Trent Williams missed a lot of time. Brandon Ayuk, like, what do you want from us? Like, our main guys were down. And if Christian McCaffrey's healthy, if Trent Williams is healthy this year, you're not really going to care who the weak side linebacker is if it's not Dre Greenlaw, because we have our core. We have our core. And I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. I feel like the Niners core is getting older. And a big reason they weren't that good last year is that the depth was non-existent. They used to have Jimmy Ward, Azeez Al-Shaair, Samson Ebukam, like this middle class of players that's just kind of gone now. I don't know.
It feels like by utilizing, we talked about this last week too, like, are they really gonna look at this upcoming draft as like, these are replacement players? And it's like, it's still bold, but it's like, all right, well, I guess that's the way they're gonna learn. So I think it kind of feels like almost they're expediting their next core, because their core now, like you said, it's the McCaffreys, it's the Trent Williams, it's the Fred Warner, the George Kittle, and like, 2 of the best ones there, McCaffrey and Williams, are towards the end of their careers, especially Williams, right? Injury prone. McCaffrey still, no matter what, going to be that scary variable. That's kind of why, like, I wrote the other day, like, hey, the 49ers might end up regretting trading Jordan Mason. Not because, like, they can't find, like, another decent back, but I think it's the fact that finding a decent back is still a variable to them. I know they have a pretty decent track history of finding them, but it's like, look, $5 million for 1 year, like, McCaffrey might get hurt, week 4, and then now you got Grendo. Grendo's hurt again, too, because Grendo looks like a low-key injury-prone player. Oh, Israel Abanikanda, like, okay, but there's no guarantee. There's basically not a lot of guarantees, whereas Jordan Mason, you have, like, look, he's still young, ascending, and you can say the same thing. He's a little, after, like, week 7, like, he started getting hurt, but it's like, yeah, like, but now he knows what to build upon. Now he knows where to improve. So I think, like, it's just about going to all these rookies and having fill them out. Like, it's like both I like it and I don't. It's like, because you're putting so much pressure on these guys to perform, and it's like, and then you also got to get the pick right. And there's just a lot of steps that where they're going to have to try to hit on.
It's just hard to say you really have a cohesive plan or a plan at all when you cut Juszczyk and then took on the dead cap hit to re-sign him to like the same deal. It's hard to say you have a plan when you lowball Dre Greenlaw thinking you have leverage and the market's in your favor. And then the Broncos come in and give him the deal he's looking for. And then at the last minute, you desperately try to match it and get rejected. It's hard to say you have a plan when you cut Leonard Floyd so you can make a run at signing Joey Bosa, but then Bosa signs with the Bills and Leonard Floyd signs with the Falcons, and you sign no one. It's easy to say, well, we just want to get younger and go to the draft. Like, well, then why'd you sign Juszczyk back? It doesn't really feel like there's a cohesive plan. It's basically, it sounds like what he's saying is, look, we had a really bad free agency. I can't explain it, but this offseason isn't over yet. Give us another chance.
Yeah, I think that's one of his comments too. Like when he says, like, "Oh yeah, we still got the draft. We're just gonna retool." And like, damn, like he's like, "Oh, we got 11 picks." It's like, yeah, but you're really gonna like be like, "Yeah, our 7th round pick is we're gonna throw him into the fire." Like, again, like how many of these guys are gonna be starters / actual integral role players? It's the whole reason why last year's draft was so raved about and so impressive. It's like, wow, the Niners actually found 4, maybe 5 adequate players / starters. It's like, wow, now imagine what year 2. So those guys are going to probably take on a larger impact and role. And then you got to hope that maybe you hit on at least 4, that's what you're looking at least 4 guys to start. Because like you mentioned, they lost a lot of starters. And I just think like, as much as like, I don't mind that plan of like, we're going to pull in all these rookies and we're going to try to find out who's going to be our next core of those guys. It still feels like you should find like at least like a couple of veterans somewhere. Like Malik Collins probably could have stayed on and just been like that veteran, like that guy you need. Because I feel like every young team needs that, you know. And just because, and I hate the whole thing about like, oh yeah, the Rams did it, so the 49ers doing it. Like, well, just because it worked for them doesn't mean it works for you. Like just like the same way when the Rams, you used to say F them picks, right? Like, okay, that worked for them. It's not going to work for all 31 other teams. It's not going to work too much for the 49ers. Like the same advice, the same process is not going to work for them. So I mean, maybe it does, but I just think like I just would feel more comfortable. Like, yeah, maybe a few proven veterans to get them in there, because again, they might get hurt too, and then those rookies come up and play the same way this past season happened.
I agree with that. And one more thing, this is Kyle Shanahan we're talking about. So John Lynch can say the plan is to get younger and play young guys, but it's Kyle. So if he drafts a bunch of he could draft 14 players. Kyle Shanahan's going to start Yetur Gross Matos, and Jordan Elliott week 1. You know he will. And when we ask him why, Jordan Elliott's starting over the 2nd round pick, he's going to be like, well, you don't just walk onto a football team and start day 1 over Jordan Elliott. I mean, that's you know what I mean? I mean, he needs to do that stuff with Cassius Marsh. I'm a little skeptical that Kyle Shanahan's all of a sudden going to be like, yeah, man, let's start 8 rookies. He's never been that way.
Yeah,
ever.
That's a perfect example. That's the other element too about like, dude, so wait, so you're gonna fill your team key spots or just whatever, a bunch of spots with these rookies or 2nd-year players, but in years past, like that was never Kyle Shanahan's MO. That's where it goes back to like same thing, like, dude, he's gonna have to adjust. Is he? What if he is actually along with this all, but he's like, I can't do this guy. We gotta wait till like week 7. And I think that might be the thing. I really do think like it's looking more and more like, yeah, I think 2025, they're pretty much saying like, yeah, we're just going to try to compete and try to grow for the years to come, because they probably looked at the free agent class and look, it wasn't attractive. It wasn't that great. There's probably like only like 7 real nice free agents you wanted to sign. And even then they got paid an astronomical amount, aside from maybe like a DJ Reader and Milton Williams. I'm not sure like how many others I would have felt like, yeah, the Niners got to get that guy. I didn't really feel like there was anyone like that on the offensive side of the ball, especially. So I think they probably assessed that and said, look, free agency, nah. Hell of our players, nah, like we're not gonna re-sign Hufanga. That's why I think like that's why the Dre Greenlaw one. Notice how Adam Schefter said that, whoever, when Pat McAfee show, whoever he said that for, how he said, oh, the Niners try to swoop in the last minute. That seems like a very San Francisco Giants thing to do. Hey, we were in on him. We tried. And that was like PR control. I remember texting my cousin too, like he was like, oh, they tried signing him. I was like, yeah, but what they pretty much did was trying to do damage control with the PR, like saying like, we tried, guys. We tried, so don't hate us, because that's know true. How great and beloved a player Dre Greenlaw is. Yes, he was hurt last year, and you know there's some risk, but I'm still to this day like that's a guy you risk rolling the dice and just seeing it, and if it doesn't plan out, it's like, hey, you know what, D Winters is there. It goes to the same thing about like I like signing at least a couple more veterans. Doesn't matter, at least someone adequate to start the season off, because again, what if it doesn't work out with those guys? What if they get hurt? What if there's so many elements of you just putting it on those rookies, and then what happens if those rookies get hurt? Who's going to back them up? You know, it's more than just can't start 11 players from the draft as if they're going to actually like hit, because some of them aren't even going to be role worthy. It's just so much assumption to that all that these guys are actually going to be those players that they need.
Yeah, like they're that great at drafting. JDM, I mean, they did a good job last year, but the 3 previous drafts weren't so great. JDM 408 says, "Did you watch Jordan Mason's Vikings conference?
Oh,
How come the Niners haven't had any conferences for their free agents? Aren't they proud of their free agents?
I'm gonna push back on
This
you.
is a great
Niners aren't the
free
only
agent
team.
class.
Niners aren't the only team that's doing those free agent. Are not doing.
Can't we
that.
meet Luke
Broncos,
Farrell? They gave him a 3-year deal. Like he's a cornerstone player.
Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga have yet to do a presser. I keep looking. I'm like, damn, I want to see it. Travarius Ward did one. I saw
Yeah, I
it.
saw
I like
that.
that. I liked his. He looked very reinvigorated. He looked like just.
Well, I want to go watch this. Apparently, Mason says he loves KOC's offense because he knows he'll get the ball.
I need to see that. I want to see that.
Jordan Mason, man.